The story begins by introducing a robot named Catherine who works as a tech guide in a private company. This company designs advanced AI robots for the military, allowing soldiers to use these robots for training and in battle. One day, Catherine receives a message in her system from an unknown AI robot. The number of such messages keeps increasing, so Catherine informs her assigned manager about it. However, the manager dismisses her concerns. But Catherine wants to investigate the matter further. On the other side, we are introduced to a soldier named Brooks, who is stationed at a military base with his fellow soldier, Drifter. Suddenly, Brooks receives a message that he needs to take his entire team for military training. Interestingly, Catherine is also present at the same location. After checking the message, Brooks decides to speak with the tech team because his team has already been training continuously for several days, so this extra training session seemed unusual. But the tech team simply tells Brooks that this is a system-generated directive and they have no choice but to follow the system's rules. This means Brooks' team must complete their training at the targeted location. Brooks begins assembling his entire team for the training exercise, with Catherine as a guide. They all board a military helicopter, and Catherine, using her scanning capabilities, gathers information about all the soldiers to interact with them better. As the helicopter reaches halfway to the destination, Catherine realizes that her access level has been downgraded from global to local, meaning she can no longer access or send information over a wide area. Within a few hours, Brooks' entire team arrives at the military location where they must complete their training as quickly as possible. The military helicopter drops them off and flies away. Catherine starts feeling suspicious as there are no ground staff or soldiers visible at the base. But without dwelling on it, Brooks and his team proceed inside. They reach a small forested area where they need to complete their training. Brooks' team activates a drone system to locate their central point. However, Catherine starts receiving some strange radiation signals in her system, which indicate a potential threat. The team splits into pairs to search for the robots in the forest. Suddenly, Catherine encounters some drones that appear extremely advanced. The other soldiers also notice the drones and comment on them. At this point, Catherine explains that these are AI advanced robots designed to monitor the soldiers' performance. Hearing this, the team calms down a bit, and their training session is about to begin. In front of them are some standard robots that Brooks' team needs to eliminate within the given time frame. Brooks starts planning with his team on how to execute the attack. Meanwhile, Catherine receives a strange signal and, following it, ventures deep into the forest. Suddenly, she comes across a highly advanced AI robot, not just a drone, but one with large legs. Catherine becomes suspicious when she notices bloodstains on the robot's body. She decides to access the robot's memories using her monitoring system. Although she doesn't get much information, when Catherine closes her eyes to access the memory, she sees that the AI robot had killed a soldier. This terrifies her, but when she opens her eyes, the AI robot is gone. Catherine hasn't yet shared this information with Brooks and his team. After completing their first day of training, the group stays at the location for a night out. The soldiers celebrate their first successful training session, while Catherine sits to the side, continuously analyzing the footage she had taken from the AI robot. At that moment, Drifter approaches Catherine and asks where she disappeared during the training session. However, Catherine doesn't tell Drifter the full story. Instead, she shares that at the age of 21, her entire body had become paralyzed. The same private company that Catherine worked for had experimented on her and turned her into a cyborg after her entire body became paralyzed. While in the forest, Catherine continued to receive signals. Meanwhile, Drifter approached Brooks, questioning how Catherine ended up on this mission. Brooks wasn't sure either, because his global system had been shut down and Catherine hadn't revealed the true purpose of this training. As night fell, Catherine and the rest of the soldiers went to sleep, except for a soldier named Loftus, who was standing guard outside. Suddenly, an AI drone appeared in front of Loftus, scanned him for a while, and then left. Loftus assumed it was just there to monitor them. But minutes later, an SR robot arrived and took an aggressive stance in front of Loftus. Despite Loftus repeatedly firing his gun at the SR robot, it had no effect. The SR robot eventually captured Loftus and dragged him into the forest. Hearing the commotion, the other soldiers woke up and saw a trail of blood leading into the forest. Brooks, Catherine, and the remaining team set out into the forest to find Loftus. They spent the entire night searching, and as dawn broke, Brooks discovered Loftus' body, indicating that the SR robot had killed him. While they were still processing this, they heard drones approaching from above. Brooks' team took cover among the trees as drones, stationed at the site of their previous day's training, began attacking. To escape, the soldiers threw smoke grenades, which disoriented the drones. The team narrowly avoided death, but a soldier named Cadwell got separated from the group. He found himself surrounded by drones that were monitoring him. As soon as the SR robot detected Cadwell's location, it arrived and killed him as well. Brooks and Drifter were at a loss, unable to comprehend why the robots were attacking them. Brooks demanded that Catherine use her system to deactivate the robots. However, Catherine explained that due to a technical error, she was unable to connect with the robots. This revelation infuriated Brooks, who blamed Catherine for the situation. Drifter explains that Catherine is not at fault. The mistake lies with the developer who designed the robots. Brooks feels deeply ashamed, as many of his team members have been killed in the fight. Meanwhile, Catherine's system reports that numerous drones and AR robots have begun attacking. The soldiers, continuously evading the attacks, attempt to flee. Catherine and Brooks, having become separated from their team, find a secluded area to hide. They decide to stay there for the night. Catherine, still unconscious due to severe injuries, remains in a vulnerable state. In the middle of the night, Brooks is confronted by the same drones that had been monitoring them. Knowing that an SR robot would soon arrive to kill them, Brooks takes Catherine and hides in a safer location. The SR robot searches for them, but eventually leaves when it cannot find them. By morning, Catherine and Brooks manage to reunite with the remaining soldiers. They realize they need to reach the military base to call for a rescue team. Catherine and Brooks decide to advance towards the base, while the other soldiers provide cover fire from behind. They gradually reach the base's entrance, but the security lock prevents them from opening it. Catherine attempts to hack the security system, but soon, a large number of AI robots surround the area, throwing smoke grenades at the soldiers. Remarkably, these AI robots are mimicking the soldiers' tactics and start attacking them. Catherine, against the odds, manages to unlock the security system, allowing the soldiers to rush inside the military base. However, as they are making their way in, Drifter is struck by a laser beam, causing his entire leg to be severed. Although the other soldiers have made it inside the base, Catherine decides to go back to try to save Drifter. Once again, she attempts to deactivate the robots using her system, but a system error prevents her from doing so. Drifter tells everyone to leave, but when an SR robot prepares to kill him with a laser beam, Brooks intervenes. He shoots Drifter himself to prevent his comrade from dying in vain and quickly takes Catherine into the base. Catherine is furious with Brooks, feeling she could have saved Drifter. The other soldiers begin to suspect Catherine, blaming her for the disaster. They argue that if it weren't for her, they wouldn't have had to undergo this training and so many soldiers wouldn't have died. Meanwhile, the dangerous robots start cutting through the base's door to get inside. Catherine and the remaining soldiers search for a connectivity device within the base. Inside a room, Catherine finds many robots kept as samples and activates one of the SR robots to gather information. She learns that these robots have human combat systems integrated, allowing them to attack humans as well. However, Catherine faces more errors while trying to deactivate the sample robot. As she struggles, more robots start breaking through the door. Catherine quickly exits the room. Brooks sets up several bombs at the door, and when the SR robots approach, he detonates them. The explosion buys them some time, temporarily saving them from the robots. Catherine and the other soldiers decide to hide in an open area. Catherine discovers that the SR robots have an EAP, Enhanced Assault Protocol, built into them. Thus, Catherine retrieved the EMP from the destroyed robots. They all knew that the robots would definitely attack them in the morning, so Catherine explained her plan to Bugs. If they could fire the EMP grenade at the SR robot leader, the remaining SR robots would deactivate once their leader was destroyed. Bugs said that this could put Catherine's life at risk, but someone had to sacrifice their life. As dawn approached, the entire group of SR robots arrived to attack. Bugs' teammates took their positions with their guns ready to fire from a distance. However, the robots were also targeting the soldiers and managed to kill many of them. According to Catherine and Bugs' plan, they had to fire the EMP, and if the SR leader came close, they would blast it. But suddenly, a robot shot Catherine. Her condition deteriorated rapidly, but she detonated the EMP grenade, releasing dangerous radiation that destroyed the SR robot's systems. Bugs thought everything would be fine now, but one robot remained active and continued to hunt Bugs and Catherine in the building. Bugs managed to get Catherine to the high floor, but the SR robot reached there as well. Surprisingly, the robot targeted Catherine instead of Bugs. Catherine, using technical control, fired at the SR robot. However, as the SR robot was dying, it transferred all its data to Catherine's brain, narrowly saving both Catherine and Bugs. A military helicopter soon arrived to rescue the remaining soldiers. However, it was revealed that the SR program had been inserted into Catherine's system, which had been transferred by the dying robot. This meant that Catherine had now become an SR robot. And thus, our terrifying story ends here.